Hey guys, welcome to episode one of the Sheisty Show. My name's Avi Guda.
And I am his co-host, Akil Narvikar.
So this is just going to be a kind of like a talk show where me and Akil um, are talking through things going on in the sports world. We're mainly going to be focusing on things that are happening in either the NFL or NBA, um, and just kind of give our thoughts and opinions on things that are going on. But we can hop right in. Today we're going to be focusing on the NFL and kind of what the teams need to do this offseason, either through the draft or free agency, and where their needs are at right now. So we can just hop right in, starting with the AFC North, the Bengals. So obviously we made a lot of O-line acquisitions, Ted Karras, Lyle Collins. So what do you kind of think about those acquisitions? Do you think we still need to hit on that in the draft or free agency?
Yeah, I mean, obviously throughout the last two seasons, really, the most glaring weakness for the Bengals has been on the offensive line. Um, Joe Burrow, in spite of staying upright last year, still you don't want him taking like what was it, like 50 plus sacks
Oh
throughout the
yeah,
season.
I think it was like if you include the playoffs, I think it was 70 or 80. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously it hasn't been your typical NFL offseason this year throughout the league. And I mean, definitely, I think that Bengals fans will be very satisfied with the moves they've made already throughout free agency. The big splash being Lyle Collins and um, getting a chip off that Dallas offensive line that's been so great over the better part of the last, I don't know, like almost decade. Um, yeah, I mean, it's clear that the Bengals front office knows that's priority number one, which is definitely encouraging if you are, as both of us are, Cincinnati natives. And yeah, just keep building on what's obviously been such a productive core over their very short tenure so far in Cincinnati.
no, I completely agree with that. O-line acquisitions are huge. We already made it to the Super Bowl this past year. So, if keeping Joe Burrow upright is a huge priority this season, and I think we can make it just as far again this year. Another need kind of for the Bengals is cornerback. Mike Hilton and Chidobe Awuzie were amazing last season, and then we got Eli Apple over there. He was still a solid corner, but I feel like in the big moments he just did not play as well as he needed to, and kind of gave up some big plays where they changed kind of the outcome of the game. So I think that's something the Bengals could address either this offseason or in the draft. I remember they were in at least there were rumors regarding Stephon Gilmore potentially coming to or the Bengals being in talks with him, but obviously those fell through. So maybe through the draft would be a good opportunity for them to address that as well.
I mean, for sure. I mean, they had moments like this whole second half against Kansas City and pretty much throughout the playoff run. But yeah, it did feel like the secondary was a bit bend but don't break throughout the Bengals run this year. And I mean, yeah, I definitely agree that in spite of all the good things that were done throughout this season, yeah, that is, you don't want to rest on your laurels. You considering the team is so whole in like so many different areas, especially on offense, there's not really much to look at other than the O line there. And um, say same thing pretty much on defense. Yeah, you can really through the draft and already with the lineman moves, you can really just shore up those areas of yeah, somewhat weakness, but like nah, only the O line's really the glaring issue. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, another thing I kind of wanted to touch on too. I feel like this off season's been so crazy, like possibly one of the craziest off seasons, definitely in recent history, potentially like ever,
mhm.
because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase over the last couple of years. I think teams saw that and saw the Bengals go from, worst in the league, what, 2 years ago to making the Super Bowl this year. And now teams are like, they're trying to acquire that one big piece, and then, trying to make that work, and thinking it'll kind of flip the script on their organization as well. So, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
I mean, for sure, like the they've definitely laid down a bit of a template in being able to flip your fortunes in just one good off season.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it was through the draft of like Jamar Chase, of course. He already had a lot of great skill talent on the Bengals, and um, just putting weapons around your franchise guy is how far it can take you. Because I mean, as I said before, no real areas aside from the O line that are glaringly weak, but at the same time, they wouldn't have been a team that you would have said could make this Super Bowl run, even heading into the playoffs, having won the NFC North. But just getting so many weapons around your franchise player, just and riding them to pretty much the promised land almost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've laid down the template, and
Yeah.
yeah, you've seen the results of it, and so many more teams being just so aggressive this offseason.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. Um, we can switch teams here. One last thing. I thought Jamar Chase was the wrong pick last year. In hindsight, clearly I was wrong, but yeah, we can switch from there. Um, so now we can go look at the Browns, another Ohio team here. A couple of needs. Edge, Miles Garrett definitely needs some help on the other side. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player, but he can't do it by himself. I think that D line, just in general, needs a little bit of help. And then obviously the whole Odell debacle. Um, with him leaving, they acquired Amari Cooper, but Jarvis Landry wants, I think, like 20 million a year. So odds are he's not going to be re-signing with the Browns. So they still have like Donovan Peoples-Jones, some solid receivers there, but I think, with the acquisition of Deshaun too, I think you really got to surround him with as many weapons as you can. And it, if feels like they went all in with the 230 million. So like, if you're going to go all in on that offense. So I think wide receiver is kind of something they need to take a look at this offseason as well.
Yeah, for sure. In spite of the fact that I am not a fan of Baker Mayfield, yeah,
I don't know if anyone is.
it's yeah. I mean, clearly Cleveland wasn't either. But at the same time, like the it was a combination of obviously like the injuries, and then as you said, he never clicked with Odell, which was much to my dismay, me being a big OBJ fan and having to watch every Browns game, looking at Odell running his routes and seeing him open and either getting it bounced at his feet or yeah, just not it was dark. It was a tough time to be an OBJ fan through these last what to 3 seasons that
Yeah.
he spent in
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yep.
But yeah, it comes back to um the skill talent aside from like Chubb and I do like David Njoku as a tight end. I don't know why. I mean, at least in my observations, like Baker like seemed to like Austin Hooper a lot more. But um yeah, of course, the a lot of good, like decent wide receivers, as you said, but yeah, nobody that could really take the top off a defense. And Odell was supposed to be that guy, but it never clicked. And yeah, with Deshaun Watson being there now, I mean, he as he showed in Houston, you know, he is the caliber of quarterback, assuming that he'll be able to pick right up, having not played in a while, that can mask a lot of those flaws. But at the same time, you really did expect Cleveland to be further along in not in being able to carry their momentum that they had
Yeah.
2 seasons ago, making the winning their first playoff games in I believe like 2 decades or so.
Yeah.
And now they're at a bit of a crossroads with just yeah, their defense wasn't as good this year as we would have thought, and like and also and yeah, the skill talent is a question. I mean, Chubb is great, and
Kareem too.
yeah, but yeah, as I said, the wide receivers probably need some work.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like especially in the AFC North, if you want a shot at, even making the playoffs now with the Bengals and the Ravens, um, Steelers, I don't know so much if they'll be a huge threat this year, but we can get to that. But the Bengals and the Ravens, you got to be able to go head to head. You're going to be playing 4 games against them, so you got to at least win, two
Yeah,
of those, or
we don't even know how much Deshaun is going to be able to play this season.
Exactly. So that's the problem with, if you're Cleveland, do you want to, go out and try and get another wide receiver, give him a big contract, and then, have to rely on your backup quarterback to probably not get you in the playoffs. So that's something they're going to have to kind of keep an eye on Deshaun's legal situation, obviously. But yeah, I think they got a good core there. If they can shore up that defense a little bit, and then I'll also add some offensive talent in terms of wide receiver opposite of Amari. I think they got a good shot at least at maybe being like a wild card team, or yeah. So yeah, but all right, let's move on. We got next up, we got the Steelers. So obviously this past off season lost Big Ben. I don't know if that's a huge loss, honestly, with the way he was playing, but now I think Mitch Trubisky is starting. I think actually there were rumors pretty recently that Steelers were maybe in talks with Baker, so he might still be within the division. I think they should be. I don't think Baker's ever going to be an elite quarterback by any means, but I think he's definitely an upgrade on Mitch Trubisky. Mitch. So that's something they definitely got to take a look at. And then they also lost Juju this offseason. So now maybe taking a look at that wide receiver position might benefit them as well, just because, you need some offensive firepower in this division. They still have Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. So still a solid offense, and Najee Harris, obviously, can't forget him. But I think that quarterback is definitely something they're going to have to address. Either I don't think they're going to address it in this draft, but maybe acquiring Baker, acquiring someone else through a trade. I think they're still a decent team this year.
Yeah, I think I'm probably a bit more down on the Steelers this year. Obviously, this year is going to be, I would think you're going to have a bridge quarterback, whether it's Baker, whether it's Mitch. And historically, I mean, Mike Tomlin's been able to like max just get every last drop out of a team that doesn't look great on paper. They just look no further to last year's Steelers team, which had
Yeah, I
no
don't think
business.
he hasn't had a losing season, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
last year they had no business being in the playoffs,
oh, yeah.
but yeah, you got the corpse of Big Ben dragged them to the playoffs, and obviously got very fortunate with that whole Colts debacle in Jacksonville in the last week of the season, but as well as that miraculous Chargers and Oakland game. But also, I believe the year before they started out 11-0, when Ben was hurt all year with Mason Rudolph and like what Duck Hodges rotation at quarterback, they almost made the playoffs that year.
Yeah.
So I mean, Tomlin, I do think has underachieved when the Steelers were at their like peak through the Big Ben, AB, all of those guys, like a lot of bad playoff losses in that tenure. But I mean, yeah, you can't Mike Tomlin in this situation, like as far as floor raising a team, that's probably what I would say he's best at. And I'm sure they'll grind out some ugly wins like usual, and that'll have their record at a respectable tally. But yeah, I mean, this year is a bit of a bridge year into a rebuild post Big Ben, and
Yeah. Yeah.
going
Yeah.
to find your guy in the draft, as you said. Probably it's not this year, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah, I totally get that. I think at least on paper they got a solid team, but you're missing some very key pieces there, like a quarterback. So obviously you're not going to be. I don't think they make the playoffs this year realistically, especially with like the Broncos acquiring Russell Wilson. So like and the Raiders acquiring Devontae Adams. I think there's a lot more talent in the AFC this year that they're just not going to be able to keep up with to even get a wild card spot.
They don't even have the dominant defenses of past Steeler teams. It's very much the TJ Watt show on that side.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So definitely down on the Steelers this year. But moving on, what do you think about the Ravens this year?
I mean, their season definitely was derailed last year by Lamar getting hurt. But
last year was the season where J.K., Gus Edwards.
Oh yeah,
all of them got injured. There were like 3 running backs in a row.
They came into the year like
and they just all got injured and like subsequently. So
still started out like strong, right? They were like the 1 seed in the AFC for a while.
Yeah.
But even in like it started strong, and obviously Lamar getting hurt was the straw that broke the camel's back with all the injuries.
Yeah.
And even with their backup, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about. Hold on, let me.
I can't believe it's not Lamar Jackson.
I know. He played pretty well.
This year too. Yeah, they had a lot of very close losses with was it Tyler Huntley or?
Yep. That's his name. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of close losses with even with him playing. But I did think throughout the year that the Ravens record was a bit deceiving, because a lot of those games they pulled out were like very close. They needed a record-breaking field goal out of Justin Tucker to not lose to the winless Lions at that point. And they came back big on Monday night against the Colts. And I never thought they were as good as their record indicated. But also, that had to do with the injuries. And I think it's fair to say Lamar regressed a bit, even in his time healthy this year.
Yeah.
Had a couple of just like really tough game, like that Browns game on
Yeah.
Sunday night,
Yeah.
and yeah. But their system being what it is, I'm sure they'll be right back in the mix this coming season.
Mhm.
Like
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think the Ravens are kind of they're very good at fighting through adversity as proven by this offseason. So I think they'll find a way to kind of, grind through games and grind out a win. But I don't know if they have the roster this year to actually make a playoff run or compete in the playoffs like they might have been able to in the past.
yeah, I
Um,
mean the formula I'm sure will still be the same. Great defense, great running game. Um, you know what you're gonna get with Baltimore pretty much.
yeah, this past year I think a couple corners went down, right? But their
Oh yeah,
defense
yeah,
was not the best. Wasn't the historical Ravens defense that you're used to seeing. So
yeah.
they definitely need to. Obviously, the injury bug bit them bad last year, but um, if they want a shot at contending or making the playoffs, even so, they got to be able to get that defense healthy and um, yeah. I think
Mhm.
they also were in talks with Zadarius Smith, and he verbally agreed, but then he backed out too. So they're gonna need some help on that D line. Um,
Yeah. I mean, first step with them is just get healthy,
yeah,
and that'll help a lot. They probably still were a playoff team this year without the injuries, but or with even just Lamar not getting hurt midway through.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but it will be interesting because I think isn't Lamar his rookie deal is ending,
yep,
right?
yep. I think
So
this last year.
they have a decision to make on how much money they're gonna plug into him.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't heard anything about contract talks or anything of that nature with him. But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a down year by his standards this year, it certainly does throw a wrench in
yeah,
if they're gonna give him the bag.
yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at his stats from this last year. Yeah, it definitely wasn't an MVP Lamar year. Um,
Mhm.
I think he's regressed. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up that explosiveness that he has. Obviously, he's still very young, but just as you get older, I don't
Yeah.
know if you're going to be able to keep running as much and taking some of the hits that he does take. But um, yeah, so I guess we'll see how that plays out with Lamar, and hopefully they're able to stay healthy this year. But um, I think Bengals are definitely the team to beat this year in the AFC North. And even if the Ravens are able to get healthy, they still got the Browns to worry about. And the Steelers aren't any, pushover team either. So definitely a tough division. Uh, but yeah, we can move on from that. So we're done with the AFC North teams. Let's just move over, cover the AFC East. So start out with the Jets. What do you think about the Jets? What do you think about Zach Wilson?
Well, I was very high on Zach Wilson coming into the draft. I mean, there, I guess there's a I'm not saying he's a bust yet, and I think that's the case for a lot of rookie quarterbacks from last. It's like too early to say they're the guy or they're the bust after
Yeah,
just
I
one
definitely think
year,
it's way too early. 1 year's way too early
because
because Trevor Lawrence obviously didn't have a good
pretty
season.
much none of them other
Yeah,
than
Justin
Mac
Fields did.
had a
Yeah,
good year.
yeah,
But yeah, I thought Zach Wilson would be the best quarterback out of out of last year's draft.
yeah.
Um, but also I'm not admittedly not very I don't get that into the like draft as far as like looking into prospects
No,
that extensively.
yeah. I'm
Um,
honestly I feel like his name just showed up out of nowhere. Like there was Trevor Lawrence, there was Justin Fields, Mac Jones, obviously big colleges, big names.
Yeah.
And then Zach Wilson, I feel like just popped up out of nowhere. Maybe I just wasn't keeping up with prospects either, but I feel like that was just a little curveball.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, outside of his tough rookie season, there were some games where he had some flashes, just like the other rookie quarterbacks that struggled this year with Fields and Lawrence. But outside of him, I did expect the Jets to be better than they were, because under their new coach and Robert Saleh coming over from San Francisco as the defensive coordinator there.
Yeah.
Being at the head of some great Niner defenses. I thought the Jets would be better this year, but of course, there's always that one game where they punch above their weight class every year, where they beat Tennessee this year
Yeah.
and almost beat Tampa. It seems to happen every year with the Jets, where they just pull some random upset.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't. I thought the Jets would be better. At the same time, I can't really say what they really like. I can't hone in on one thing that they need.
Yeah, they got a
'cause
lot
it's
of things.
just
That team needs a whole got a lot of pieces they got to find to,
yeah,
be able to compete in that division. I think one thing, wide receiver, obviously, Elijah Moore was electric when he was playing. He was
yeah. It was a
very
bright
good.
spot. Yeah,
I think you got to put more firepower around Zach Wilson if you want to give him a chance to actually, succeed. You gotta give him some tools to work with on that offense. Another thing, I remember when Zach Wilson was drafted, some of the Jets teammates were saying Sam Darnold was equally as good as Zach Wilson in terms of like, I remember they were talking about like throws that Zach Wilson could make, and teammates were just like, Darnold can make those throws too. Like,
I,
so
I definitely got caught up. I've like learned to not get too caught up in pro day, because like it's literally an
everyone,
empty
those routines
every
are practiced,
yeah
and they're gonna hit every throw. If they miss a throw, it's a bad thing. If they hit a throw
yeah
expected. So,
yeah
but yeah, definitely, wide receiver, edge. That they just need a whole list of things that they got to fix for them to be able to compete, especially when you consider the other. I think either edge or wide receiver, you either got to go shot for shot with the other teams in the East, or you got to be able to put pressure on those quarterback, Mac Jones, Josh Allen, Tua. Those are all,
mhm.
good quarterbacks, or, solid quarterbacks. So you either got to put pressure on them, or you got to be able to go, shot for
Yeah.
shot with those offenses, which is going to be hard to do. So, this season's probably not going to be a good season to be a Jets fan either, as usual. But yeah. All right. So we can just move on. Let's go to the Patriots. Your guy, Mac Jones.
Yes, yeah. As you notice, we are covering the divisions of each of our favorite teams. Obviously being the Bengals. Me, in spite of being a Cincinnati native, as I said earlier, somehow latched onto the Patriots earlier in the 2010s,
Back
and
when they were winning.
I mean, you can. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the first conclusion we're gonna jump to is the bandwagon one, and I get that a lot. So that's nothing. That's nothing I'm not used to. But um, let's see. Yeah, I mean, the season was a mixed bag for the Pats. I mean, obviously it's a win when you make the playoffs, and yeah, a great coaching job by Bill Belichick, as nothing you wouldn't expect, but
I don't think you can really expect a much better season from,
yeah,
when you have a rookie quarterback at the helm. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, he started very clean, started unraveling a little bit started looking like a rookie a little bit at the end of the year. The fact that this team was the 1 seed at one point and had people like legitimately believing they could be contenders in the AFC was pretty much just a testament to the greatness of Bill Belichick. The having lost Stephon Gilmore the previous year, their defense obviously was not as strong as past Belichick defenses have been. On offense, it's just it's been a kind of befuddling offseason to be a Patriots fans because they haven't really done much aside from like who they in contrast to it's
Last
not coming to
offseason,
me
they
up.
were pretty active. They got
Yeah,
Hunter
yeah,
Henry and Jonu and like back-to-back days. I think they
yeah,
made some other ones that I can't remember, but I remember them
yeah,
being
like Nelson
active.
Aguilar. I mean, none
Yeah.
of those were like uh none of those were like huge splashes, but it's definitely more active than Belichick as the de facto GM of that team has been in
Yeah.
past years. And that's another thing that's been ever since Brady and Belichick parted with each other, it's been a thing that's been a topic of conversation with how the gap between Belichick the coach and Belichick the GM is because to this point over the last 3 to 4 seasons for the Pats, going back to I would say 2018, the last Patriots Super Bowl, they have not like they just have not given their quarterbacks enough skill talent. Like I know what that's a big reason why Brady left was
Yeah.
just the wide receivers like not being able to get separation.
Yeah. I think the
Uh,
last season Brady was there. Who was it? It was they still had Gronk, obviously. They had Edelman.
Gronk had retired Brady's last
Oh,
season,
really?
so it
Okay.
was
So
just
they had Edelman, Hogan.
Edelman and I don't even know if Hogan was there. Josh Gordon was there for a bit.
Oh yeah.
I think Hogan might have left after the last Super Bowl year, but Josh Gordon was there. Obviously, again, he unable to stay in the league yet again for the umpteenth time. And I mean, N'Keal Harry is not at all manifested.
Definitely a bust.
Yeah, yeah. I think this year, what Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers stepped up for them at wide receiver,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
those
Jacoby was
guys,
decent from what he got like 60 and like close to 900, I think, or
yeah,
100.
yeah. I
So
mean, but yeah, you do need just I just think they need better skill players as well.
yeah.
It's been a consistent theme throughout the Patriots dynasty and even now as they look to regain contender status. But yeah, I'm a bit confused as what the objective was this offseason.
Yeah. What was the Patriots record again this past year? Do you remember?
Either 11, I believe 11-6 or 10-7 because they
Okay.
lost their last couple games.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't finish strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 10-7, 10-7.
7. Okay. Yeah. Um, I think, yeah, I think Mac Jones is a good system quarterback. You know, he's able to function in that offense very well. I think he
Yeah,
is going to have a make progression and just keep getting better slowly. I think the Patriots as a whole this season may take a step backwards, at least in terms, of record.
yeah. They'll probably be competing like with the Dolphins
Yeah,
for
yeah,
second.
I think especially with that Tyreek Hill acquisition, I think the Dolphins, if Tua is able to make some progression too and make some of the throws that he's been missing over the last
Yeah.
year, I think that's going to be a hard team to beat. But yeah, also the Patriots lost JC Jackson. You were talking about Stephon Gilmore. I think last year they lost
Yeah.
JC Jackson this offseason.
Yeah, that's big too. And he was Mr. Interception for
Yeah.
this team. Yeah.
Yeah. So cornerback and that secondary in general is something they're gonna have to kind of fix and
Yeah.
build. But yeah. Anything else? Any comments on the Patriots besides that?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I am happy with Mac. Mac, obviously
Yeah.
his rookie year was by far the best of the rookie QBs. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't high on him when they drafted him, but yeah, definitely encouraging from the most important position in
Yeah.
the sport.
Yeah, I completely agree. Hopefully he can take some steps forward and keep competing in that division. Yeah, just moving on. We got the Bills next. So the Bills, obviously, elite wide receiver one, Stephon Diggs. I think they still have Cole Beasley and then Gabriel Davis too. Obviously, Gabriel Davis went off in that playoff game against the Chiefs. So just starting off, what do you think he's going to turn into? Do you think he'll turn into that wide receiver two they're looking for across from Diggs, or do you think they still need to kind of search for that elsewhere?
I'm not really sure what to make of Gabriel Davis after his yeah, I mean that playoff game was a monster performance. Regardless, the I'm just gonna pull up his numbers because I don't really remember
Yeah,
off
I don't think during the season
what he did on
he was elite by any means, or but just that performance in the playoffs, I feel like that was just more because of I think they scored like what 24 points in the last 2 minutes or 20 points in the last
yeah,
something like
and
that.
he's still like really young in his NFL career
Yeah,
with so I mean yeah, it is just one game, but also it was an exceptional performance. So um but regardless, I do think Josh Allen being as good as he is, um yeah, I really thought the Bills were ready this year. They were my pick to make the Super Bowl in the AFC,
yeah,
and I do think and yeah, they really lost to KC just by virtue of a coin flip, pretty much. And
yeah.
I understand that. I I do get that if you can't make a stop with 13 seconds left for a field goal.
I feel like that one's on them. I'm not even gonna say anything about the coin flip because
Oh no, I agree. I agree from that standpoint. Like 13 seconds, and but at the same time, it was Patrick Mahomes. You kind of felt overtime was likely, even
yeah,
when they kicked that ball off.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean the Bills are definitely they're still that's their division to lose for at least a good 5-year window, probably.
yeah.
Josh Allen's by far the best quarterback in that division, and
Mhm.
he's really turned into like the very upper. He's like an S tier quarterback now,
Oh,
over the
yeah,
last couple of years,
yeah,
and his playoff run last year was incredible. Like played a flawless game against the Pats
yeah.
in the wild card, and then um pretty much played Mahomes to a tie. I know people have even argued that they thought Allen played better, but yeah, I mean, heartbreaker for the Bills again, because in spite of a bit of a step back in the regular season, they really looked like they were like they had found something by the end of the season,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm sure they'll be looking to carry that into the 2022 season.
Yep. Yep. Um, the Bills lost to the Patriots last year, right? In the regular season.
And in that hurricane game,
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I think the Bills need to. I know obviously Josh Allen is easily the best player on that team, so put the ball in his hands as much as you can.
yeah,
I think he was like 15 for 31 in that Patriots game, and Mac Jones threw
it
the
was like
ball three
2 for 3.
times.
Yeah,
So, I think I don't know. If you're the Bills, I feel like you at least got to be able to run the ball
oh yeah, for sure.
because
Yeah,
that's a huge
'cause-
part of the NFL. Obviously, passing is becoming more and more
yeah,
prominent now, but
but
you still got to
they
be able
can't
to
run the ball like at all. Yeah,
exactly
um,
like so.
and I mean, also I think the Bills like defending the run on the other side is also
Yeah,
was an issue because Derrick Henry gashed them, Jonathan Taylor gashed them. Um, Pretty sure what the when they lost to lost to Jacksonville, didn't they? They
I
got
think so. Yeah,
Jacksonville ran all over them as well. Um, yeah, I think their defense got it was very highly ranked, I remember, but I think that was a bit misleading in the fact that they got fat off of some beating up on some bad teams.
yeah,
Obviously when you saw in the playoffs when they faced another elite quarterback, Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey all had their way with Buffalo. Buffalo's defense, they just could not buy a stop in that
yeah.
game.
It's so interesting to me too because I think the Bills are Bills have one of the best pass defenses in the league, right? Like
Yeah,
so. I don't know. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is just a different breed, but
yeah.
just interesting. Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah. I mean, as far as their defense, Trey White coming off a
ACL tear.
season-ending injury. Yeah, that's something to look out for.
Yeah,
With their secondary next year. But I mean, Buffalo still. I would be shocked if they didn't top this division and come out with like 11 to 12 wins again, maybe
oh, yeah.
even more.
Yeah, I think easily they have a hold on the division, and the road through the AFC might be going
Yeah,
through them right now, especially with Tyreek Hill gone. I think that the Bills are in a much better position
yeah.
this time, or coming into this season than they
Mm.
were last season. So, but yeah, okay. So last team in the East, the Dolphins. So obviously, the thing on everyone's mind, Tyreek Hill and Tua, will they be able to hit it off this season? What do you think Tyreek's logic in leaving the Chiefs was? Obviously, contract was a big thing. Tyreek wanted to be the highest paid receiver in the league, but my thing is Patrick Mahomes complements Tyreek Hill so well, and vice
Yeah,
versa, that I don't know if that's going to be able to be replicated in Miami. I don't think it's going to.
yeah, definitely not. You wouldn't expect it to. The Obviously, yeah, as you stated earlier, money definitely the driving factor there after seeing what Devontae Adams got paid. And yeah, I mean, that's the only viable like reason that you would understand why he would choose to leave Kansas City, because um that Tyreek really was what gave the Chiefs that like scary, they can erase a like 3 possession lead in 5 minutes basically. That Tyreek was pretty much what gave them that aura. And both of them are probably going to suffer as a result of it.
Yeah.
As far as the Tua angle is concerned, you get to see if this is your guy this year. This is probably the year.
Yep.
It's like a prove it year for him pretty much. Because now you have what,
They got all the weapons there. They got
Tyreek, Waddle, yeah.
Gesicki. I think they still
Yeah.
have Devontae Parker.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it didn't. Let's see.
Is he not there?
Devontae Parker got, that's what I was forgetting. Devontae Parker got traded to the Patriots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it this offseason?
Yeah. That was
Okay.
the one move the Pats that was the one big move the Pats have made.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Tua can prove that he is their guy for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
And this move definitely will probably be the driving force in if he can.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So
And
yeah.
I mean, I see them, as I said earlier, just competing with, they'll probably, New England and them will be nip and tuck for second in that division. And
yeah, I think they'll definitely be competing for a wild card spot.
yeah, exactly. And new they have new coach this year, obviously, with the whole Flores situation and how that's gone down. That's, I am interested to see how that's going to affect their defense, because Brian Flores has been he's had a great track record as far as defense goes, and in New England, and then in Miami as the head coach. He really did get a lot out of those Dolphins teams. What they were 11-5 or 10-6 the prior year, just missing out on the playoffs. And then again this year, after a very slow start, albeit against a weaker schedule at the back end, but they finished strong again. I am interested to see how their change in coaching is gonna affect how the Dolphins play.
Yeah. One more thing also, I think they acquired they got Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert this offseason. So hopefully those two acquisitions can help, relieve some of the pressure that's on Tua, just from, I'm sure he's got a lot of expectations on him this year. So hopefully those two can help. But I think that covers everything with the Dolphins.
We wanna just hit on some NBA playoff action before calling it for this one.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so obviously at this point we are midway through almost all of the series. Probably, I think all of them are 3 games in at the very least. As we stand, the biggest shock obviously being Brooklyn being down 3-0 right now to the Celtics. That was the series that a lot of us had the biggest expectations from, and it's been entertaining, but nonetheless, the series stands at 3-0.
Yeah. Do you think that's gonna end up in a sweep?
I'll say they'll get a game, but this is gonna go down as just a catastrophic experiment with this Nets team. And the biggest thing that's coming out of this is I think KD's legacy is going to be taking a big hit, regardless of how they go out. Because nobody's ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in a playoff series in NBA history. So for all intensive purposes, you can pretty much call that one wraps. And the way it's happened, I never thought I'd see Kevin Durant have a series like this where, I mean, if you've seen the games, there's obviously throwing doubles and blitzing him, but it's almost seemed like it's gotten in his head in the way that he's missing some of the the few good looks he gets, even he's uncharacteristically clanking those. So
Yep. I think he's taking some bad shots too, just trying to force the ball into the
yeah,
basket. But yeah, I'm just looking at some numbers. He was averaging 30 over the last 2 months, and now he's putting up, I think, like close, like barely 22 points a game in the playoffs, which
I don't even know if he's
obviously,
shooting 40% too. Like that's
yeah,
the it's been very jarring to see. I mean, Kyrie's also been off aside from game
yeah,
one, but
yeah,
um yeah, KD is going to take the brunt of this with how it's perceived. And
yeah,
um yeah, I also, yeah, I have to give credit to Boston. I've never seen a team turn around a single season like they did, because they were below 500 um earlier, like deep into this year. I believe
yeah,
they only started clicking post New Year's Eve, and yeah, they've been incredible since.
yeah.
Jason Tatum, this is probably going to be his playoff run to, really establish himself as in the upper tier of NBA superstars. He's been great,
Yeah.
and
I think he's been a two-way superstar. He's locking down KD
yeah,
too.
he's locking KD, and yeah, that whole team. I've never seen anything like this, with a team just in the same year turning around a season like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they have the defensive player of the year too, Marcus Smart recently
Mhm.
being named that. Jalen Brown's been fantastic. Yeah, they got Robert Williams back now, for the first time last game. So,
Yeah.
and with the Bucks struggling with health, with Middleton going down
Mhm.
with an MCL sprain, that's gonna be a big hit. And with,
He's out for the first round, right? At least the first round.
yeah, with that Boston Milwaukee second round matchup looming, that could prove very, very crucial if Middleton has to miss any time. And yeah, you
Yeah.
got to look at Boston as one of those teams in the East. And the East has been phenomenal this year, probably better than the West
Oh
for the
yeah.
first time in a while.
Yeah.
Um, but they're definitely in that category of teams you could see making it to the finals,
Mm.
and they're championship contenders. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
I think, what aside from that, we got the Timberwolves Grizzlies game series being the series that's we thought that Boston and Brooklyn would be, but
Mhm.
that's been a very fun series. Yeah, they're locked up at 2-2 now, and you can make a very good case that Minnesota should be up 3-1 right now.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see any of game three, or with the 25 point, like multiple 25-point leads blown on Minnesota's end?
No, I didn't watch those games.
Yeah, no, if Minnesota just had played a bit smarter, like very easily you could see them up 3-1 right now. And
Yeah.
it's been a rocky playoff day. Well, not playoff debut. It's been a rocky playoffs for John Morant so far. He
Yeah.
hasn't really been great. Just he's struggled with his shooting, and
Yeah.
really to put his fingerprints on any of these. And I don't know what.
When did he make his return? I know he's injured for a while.
I think he made his return in like it was in one of the last few games of the season. So maybe,
Yeah, I was gonna say
the rust
maybe.
of that is having an impact on his performance.
Yeah. So he was
And
out for a while, but yeah.
yeah, uh, but yeah, Minnesota also not your typical 7 seed, with a lot of young talent with Cat, Ant, and D'Lo.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are Cat has been obviously inconsistent, but put in a great game last night to sneak Minnesota past. Um, and then I would say the last thing that's caught my eye this playoffs has been how good Golden State looks again. this is really the first time all season that they've been totally healthy. Their core with Steph, Draymond, and Clay being whole again, and they've clicked right back, and it looks like it's like 2016 again.
Yeah, they're looking clean.
The ball's moving around. It's like albeit Denver's they're crippled without Jamal Murray and MPJ. So nobody really thought they were gonna win this series or really had a chance. But yeah, the
Warriors go on to play once the
I think they'll play winner of Memphis, Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be the 2-3. And same thing out west with Phoenix, a lot of people's favorites in the West, with Booker getting hurt. So both the teams that I think a lot of people consider the favorites in each of the conferences reeling with key injuries.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole Zion situation, just in general, just him not playing?
I don't even know. It's very hard to get a read on that. Like, I obviously like there's no nice way to put it, but like, he's got to find a way to be more consistently in shape. Like, and then I don't really know if he's out of there. Like,
This reminds me of the Kawhi situation, if you remember, with the Spurs one, because I know there's been some disconnect between him and the medical staff. He doesn't think he's healthy. The medical staff thinks he's healthy enough to play. So we just got to keep an eye on that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been very bullish on the Warriors winning the title this year all season.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the people backed off Golden State after they had a fantastic start to the season, then ran into some issues throughout with the injuries to Steph in the middle, that he's just coming back. Draymond as well. Clay just working himself, and Clay now is looking a lot more like the Clay Thompson of old, which is miraculous considering he's coming off Achilles and ACL. It's been
been a rough couple of years for
almost 3 years without playing basketball for him. So it's really miraculous that he still averaged 20 points per game this year when he played. And now he's looking a lot more like Clay. So some rocky injury luck threw off they probably would have been an easy 2 seed had they not encountered those, but you'd rather have that happen during the season and be whole for the playoffs. And that looks to be the case with Golden State now. And obviously the emergence of Jordan Poole, we can't talk about them without how good he's been. He's basically been the person they plug in with Kevin Durant's absence from when they were an unfair super team. And he was great early in the season with Clay out, and then once Steph went out at the end of the season, he really started to become one of their if not the primary scorer while he was gone. So and now he's averaging damn near 30 points.
And he's been phenomenal.
It's wild how that team is like, we've seen the same core 3 guys for the better part of a decade. Just they're still doing their thing now. Which is like 2016 doesn't feel like that long ago, but like 2015, 2016, both of those are closer to a decade older than they are to less than a decade.
Another thing, I think, so what? Oh, last big thing, I think Devin Booker is out for
Yeah, Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah, he's out. I think it's likely he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. So that's a big loss for them, obviously. Um,
Mm,
Losing one of their primary scorers, but um, yeah, that definitely opens up a window for the Pelicans to get a couple of wins and potentially take that series there.
yeah. I even before Booker went down, the Pels were doing like they were competing still. Like it wasn't both of those games
Yeah.
weren't when Booker got hurt in game two. Actually, I think the Pelicans were up three or something.
Mhm.
So yeah, they've each of those games have been game one wasn't all that close, but it ended up being like a 10-point loss. And then game three, they lost by a hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're the Suns, you want to get out of there as quick as possible and be able to rest up for your second round and get Booker back potentially.
Yep. Yep. Then yeah, I think that's pretty much all we got. Bucks look like they're about to take a 3-1 lead,
Yeah.
85-67. So that series is likely
Yeah.
done. I'm sure Giannis can handle game 4 too. So
Same with them. Just yeah, you don't wanna put on any extra mileage on the legs.
yeah.
Just get out of there as routine as possible and hope your second stars can come back as quick as possible.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's all we have to talk about today, right?
Yeah, I think that's about it.
That
That'll
about covers it. Um, Thank you for anyone who tuned in. And yeah, just
yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
yeah.